it's Darian, and today we are going to be talking about shifting. It's a super important part of playing the violin because it is our transportation system to smoothly change between different positions on the violin. So I hope you're ready, have your bows and your violins ready at hand, and we're going to talk about some shifting today. So first things first, what makes a good shift? Well, it is a transportation system. It is made up of three parts. There is the lifting motion, the shift itself, and then the dropping motion of the finger. Those are the three components to a good shift. But it's important to keep in mind that you need to glide lightly on the surface of the shift. We do not need to press down, because that way our shift is completely audible and it is not clean. We also, while we're practicing, want to hear the harmonics under our fingers since we are lightly touching the string as we shift to our end note. And then the thumb pressure in our left hand needs to be light. We cannot grip the violin because that will prevent us from shifting smoothly. If you're squeezing, it's going to be a lot harder to move your hand. And then the bow pressure and the speed needs to remain constant for a good shift. We are only focusing on our left hand right now, so don't worry about the bow. It needs to remain constant and not alter during the shift at all at the moment. So keep a good bow, even bow going. Do not stop it, do not press, do not lift right now. Everything is going to remain constant, and we're just going to be looking at our left hand as we are exploring the different types of shifts. So you can put your bows down right now. And if you have never shifted on the violin before, I am going to introduce an exercise to help you get used to this sliding and shifting feeling, okay? So it's going to seem a little funny, but we are going to be on the A string, and you're going to shift up the violin on your first finger. You can wiggle that if you'd like. And then you're going to go all the way up the violin. So our thumb is going to slide with our first finger. It's going to come around the violin and then up the side of the fingerboard with our first finger. And then your goal is to keep sliding to where you can touch your pinky to your nose. I told you this was funny. And then you can just slide back down with your first finger gliding on the string to where you're back in first position. And I can show you this direction, what my thumb is doing. And I can touch my pinky to my nose. And then my finger is going to slide back down to where I am in first position. So you can do this a bunch of times to get used to the sliding feeling, because shifting needs to be smooth, it needs to be light. We're not pressing into the string. If you press, everything just tightens and makes your job so much harder. So practice this a couple times if you've never shifted, because by the time we actually work on some shifting exercises, you'll actually feel a lot more comfortable about the motion that our left hand is making. So first, we're going to start with the most basic shift that there is, which is shifting on one finger up to a higher note with the same finger and then back down. So we're going to be shifting with our first finger. We're just going to go on the E string, nice and easy. We're going to play an F sharp. And we're going to shift to third position, which is an A. You're going to lift the finger. If you can see closely, I'm playing and now I'm lifting. You can see how my hand relaxed. And then you're going to hear harmonic when I lift. Did you hear that? After you hear that harmonic sound from lifting, you're going to continue to hear that harmonic during the next step, which is the shift. And then when you hear your end note, that is when you drop. If you need to hear the two pitches before you try shifting, I recommend just playing your F sharp and then your A. So those are the two pitches you are aiming for. And then the same thing happens when you shift down. Lift, shift, and then drop. The exercise that is good for practicing this is to just take like a G major scale and shift with your first finger the entire way. I can demonstrate. So then I'm gonna lift, shift, drop. Doesn't really matter about bowings right now. I really want you to focus on what your left hand is doing. Make sure you're lifting, shifting, and then dropping. If you want to make it even harder, if you're a little bit more advanced, I recommend doing this all on one string, whichever string you want to do. I recommend the G string because we're doing G major scales right now. And then you can also challenge yourself to do this on many different fingers. You can do it on your second finger, you can do it on your third, and so on. Challenge yourself and get used to shifting on all the fingers from the same finger to the same finger again. Just so everyone knows, there are different types of shifting. If you need something more advanced, I recommend practicing the different types of shifting. So, of course, the first type of shifting is with one finger, where it's the same finger the entire time. But you can also have other shifts where you are shifting up from a lower finger to a higher finger. And I can demonstrate. So you're going to shift on your lower finger and then place the higher finger. So I'm going from an F sharp to a B. But I'm going to shift with my lower finger and then place the higher finger. And the same thing, if I go down, I'm going to move from my higher finger, which is my second finger, to a lower finger, which is my first finger. So I'm going from E to an F sharp. So the second finger is completing the shift, but I am still keeping the first finger down. It's going along for the ride, and then I lift so that I can play the lower finger for the actual note that I'm aiming for, which is the F sharp. So it works both ways. Now let's say you want to actually hear your shift. So when you're shifting higher, you can do this by shifting with the new finger as you go up. So we're not going from lower to higher like we talked about in the previous type of shifting. So let me demonstrate. So from an F sharp to a B, I'm going to shift with my higher finger. That way you can hear the glissando. Now let's say I'm a more advanced violinist and I want to hide all my shifts and I just want to shift from a higher finger to a lower finger as I'm moving up. You can make this seamless if you'd like. You can play a G note, but shift to an A in third position. You can move to this A note seamlessly. If you saw slowly, my fingers made a seamless exchange while doing the shift. And the same thing going down. You go from a lower finger to a higher finger very seamlessly. And there you go. If you have any questions, please reach out. But those are the different types of shifts. Again, start at the beginning if you've never shifted before. Don't worry about the more advanced shifts I talked about at the end. That's just for people who are more comfortable with shifting and want to challenge themselves to something new if they are already comfortable with the first type of shifting that we talked about, which is just on one finger, up and down the violin. So please reach out if you have any questions again. I can't emphasize that enough, but have fun practicing, you guys.